how'd you like to really work for God?
When we talk about the level or the frequency of incarcerations in America, we should tremble and shake, because this is another example of man's injustice and inhumanity to other men and women and children and families and our communities. 2.2 million currently incarcerated. 2.2 million. We got the highest incarceration rate in the world.
What we're hearing is moral, ethical, social, political, and economic problems that reflects and contributes to the ills of our society.
So why not, take that same effort or whatever we take to send them to prison, to send them to houses and facilities that stand a better chance at rehabilitating them and making our communities safer than it is eventually they're going to get out of prison.
I was one of those people that got sent out with absolutely no coping or living skills at all. And I lived on the streets, not because that's necessarily the way that I wanted to live, but because I felt like that's the only way I could live. And I was somebody, when I came out of the penitentiary, and Sandra knows this, who was absolutely institutionalized. See, I went back and forth to the penitentiary, not necessarily because I was a criminal, but because I needed somebody to tell me when to wake up, when to go to sleep, how to work. See, they taught me how to work. The one thing that made me kind of mad was when I got out, I did find out, that I was getting paid 26 cents a day, and that was a bit harmful for me. But I realized that it's my job and it's Sandra's job, and everybody else's job as people who have gotten out and who turned their lives around to carry this sort of message to people. Because I'm like Sandra, if it wasn't for that one white man, you understand what I'm saying? And I have to stress that because people come out of this situation thinking that we can only help ourselves or help our people. This one person believed in me and saw something in me and stayed by me. That's why I'm a believer of angels, because regardless of the path that I went on, there was always somebody there. Somebody. And the littlest thing that you may say to somebody could stick with them for years. And I'm so grateful that, for this forum. I'm getting a little overwhelmed, I'm getting a little teary because, I'm not a bad person. See, I never have been a bad person. And I believe that about myself. But you would be surprised for somebody to put their hand on your shoulder when you haven't had a bath in 3 or 4 months. To say that I believe that you could step out of this. I'm going to love you until you love yourself. I'm going to grab you by your hand and I'm going to help you. And this gentleman who's dead today said to me, but when I help you, carry it on. Give it to the next person. Commit yourself to helping somebody else. And that's why I'm so thankful for Sandra and for her program and for the stuff that she continues to teach me, and having a view of somebody where you work in the same penitentiary. And you never know why God puts people in your path. See, I thought we were just meeting because we were in the penitentiary, when in essence, what we were doing was we were about to be colleagues at some point, and we didn't even know it.
And I have never met a group of people with quicker minds than the ex-offenders that we dealt with. And so I want you to recognize that you bring something to the table.
Recidivism is a business. going to put it to you just the way it is. I don't believe that the prison system does anything anymore to rehabilitate. They used to have programs. They no longer do. The prison system expects you to get out and report to your parole officer, and they're going to tell you to go and get a job, but you can't get hired.
One of the things that I think it's important for us all to realize that I'm finding, there are more and more men who are in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, who are in the reserves, who are coming back and getting themselves in big time trouble. Never have been in trouble before. But what they experienced in Iraq, coming back here, trying to make sense out of it, and beginning to self-medicate, it just blows my mind to realize they served our country, they're back, and they're in an institution, and some of them heading into prison. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to anybody with it gets a good programming. But people who have served, it's not in the news, it's a nationwide situation. It happened with people coming back from Vietnam, but it didn't happen as quickly as it's happening with these guys coming back. So I would just encourage you, if you know somebody coming back from Iraq, they're having a hard time getting a job, they seem to not be fitting back in, isolated, reach out to them. Because it's really easy to get themselves into something that they can't get out of easily. Thank you.